Okay.
Owie. I'll bring that down a little bit more. Oh, who has the volume up?
Probably.
We are back.
We are still black.
Well, you two are.
God damn.
I am not.
And we just figured out today it
I
doesn't
tan-
rub off.
I tan really well in the summer, though. Sometimes,
Oh, yeah, you do, but you don't.
Yeah, but not your legs.
You don't get black, Daryl. I'm
Well,
sorry.
no, I don't get black, but I get nice tan. Jeez. Here we go. Why are we starting off like this already? A Unity. Hi, Unity.
Unit Eski, Whiskey, Peaski, Whiskey.
And Emotion. Happy Sunday to you as well.
The on emotion.
The on emotion.
I will kick over all your drinks and I will vend all of the hardware jams.
Yeah.
I don't really think Anna talks like that, but she
Yeah, I do.
very well could hanging out with Tracker Jack.
Yeah, I don't trust one thing she says. Not now, not never.
Tracker Jack's been MIA.
Tracker Jack has been MIA.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I guess we'll wait for a couple of more people to get in.
Well, you
or
know,
should we just start the
let's just
conversation and let people catch it on the backside?
I say so. Shall I bring in our guest?
Let's bring in the guest.
Let's bring in our guest.
Studio 8FX. He will be starting a channel soon.
Ooh.
And as soon as we get the link, we're going to throw everything in with the kitchen sink.
And there is our lovely gnome.
Andy.
Look at the camera. Look
Yes.
at the camera.
Look at the camera.
Look at the camera, Andy. Look
Yeah.
at the camera. Look at the camera. Look at the camera.
You stare at that camera, Andy. There you go.
There
but
you go.
don't
Okay,
put
but
any
snap out of it,
Don't
though.
put any voodoo
Spells.
hexes on us. And I know that crystal ball you have behind you. It takes our dreams and you store our dreams. And some of them I never got back. And I would like to know, what do you do with our dreams, Andy?
Yes. What do you do with them?
It's a secret.
Most importantly, how are you coping with that 30-foot snow that landed on your house?
I burrowed out of it.
It's good. There you go. I'm gonna have to share that photo for people who aren't in our Discord so they know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose you need to share the photograph. I mean, why am I gnome? Because it's not like I'm 3'2"
yes.
or anything, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
So-
your music is magical. Your studio is magical. That white beard and that white hair and
Is
why
magical.
not? Why not? And to give me one good reason why we shouldn't be calling you a
And
gnome.
you're soft spoken and you're gentle and nice and you're soft and cuddly and soft spoken and gentle and nice.
I
and
think you
cuddly
said that already.
You said that like 3 times.
And soft. Did I
Yeah.
mention you were soft?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you've caught onto my online persona.
Yes.
So this is poor Andy stuck under 30 feet of snow,
That's my house.
and you can only see his hat. Now, I'm glad you made it in.
Yeah.
my
I'm glad the bird feeder didn't get completely
Yeah.
covered in snow.
The bird feeder was the only thing that survived.
Birds are more important than me.
Now I gotta find the.
Gnome drone. I think I was the first to dub you the gnome drone.
No, I think he was a gnome drum before.
No. Were you, Andy? Was I?
Yeah, at Luke's.
Yeah.
In Luke's
Yeah.
house.
God damn that, Luke.
Yeah, because we have a picture of him. It's in our Discord, right, Andy? Somebody.
Yeah,
it
it's
in
there
there?
somewhere. I don't have it, you see, because it was photoshopped by Luke.
Okay.
He called you a gnome, but he didn't. He didn't
See,
put the two words together.
Together.
The gnome drone.
Okay.
Yeah.
He didn't do it. He didn't do it.
I'll let Luke argue that. He can't be here tonight. He's on family duties, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Let's see. I'm gonna find that picture and share it. It's an awesome
Yeah.
picture.
Now we got.
Because I'm 5'9.25".
Oh well, shit. That's not too short.
That's a
Oh,
tall
yeah. That's a
gnome.
tall ass gnome. What are you like, king of all gnomes?
Andy, the Gnome King.
I'm a king of nothing.
And yet you're the king of something.
Yep. King of drones, king of guitar drones.
You're the king of your studio.
Yes, I'll take that.
Yes.
What made you so nervous to do this interview, Andy? What's going on?
Well, I'm 64 and I've never been interviewed before.
Really?
Oh, there's
So
a first time for everything.
yeah, and I mean one of the main reasons I wanted to pack in performing in a band was I just get enormous stage fright. But not when I'm streaming. If I'm streaming in my studio, there's no jeopardy. I'm not nervous at all in that.
Yeah,
Right,
it's
you could do it.
different.
But this sort of thing, I'm kind of nervous.
Now, don't you find that
Interesting.
Interesting.
Like,
Because my brother and I, we did public service for quite some time, right?
right.
But now we don't like to be out in public or go out and put ourselves in
A crowd of people
uncomfortable situations. But we'll get on YouTube and
run amok.
be ourselves. It's almost as if no one can touch us, no one can judge us. Even if you left a comment that was judging and negative or whatever, it wouldn't affect us because it's just words. You know, it's just like, well, if that's the best you can do, you can't come in here and physically affect us.
Yep, very true.
So it's funny to me that you have these fears, but you can go on your own YouTube channel and block it out.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know why that is. I don't understand it myself, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, I did a half-hour video about how I drone, and I recorded it just linear. I didn't bother chopping it up and having my face jerking all over the place trying to explain stuff. It was just a single take, 30 minutes or so, of how I do my drones, and you can tell I'm nervous in that. You can tell from my voice that I'm nervous. Whereas in my live streams, it's just like someone coming around to my house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Right.
you definitely sound a bit more loose and fluid on your live streams. You know, you
Definitely loose, yeah.
Yeah, you're definitely in your groove.
Yeah. Well, your playing is definitely loose. I'll tell you that.
That is for sure. And if any of you have never seen Synkrotron and his GNOME drumming, you're truly missing something. State of the art. Now, whether what your age is, I don't think has anything to do with it. So,
Right.
Just that being said, should conquer a lot of your fears because I didn't get into synthesis. Look at me, I'm 46 years old, only been doing this 2 years. Like if you feel a certain way, I should really be embarrassed. My point exactly, Andy.
Exactly.
Okay, let's start this. Welcome back to the podcast.
Yes.
And today we have Andy Synkrotron, the man with the master plan, the man who will harbor your dreams in his crystal ball.
The gnome drone.
He
The
won't
gnome
take
drone.
all of your dreams. He
It
just
is on
takes-
actually, just there. I've just noticed it's there, isn't it?
Oh, there it is.
There it is. Yeah. See, our dreams are in there, people.
Yeah.
Not all of them.
You better watch out.
Just
He
the ones
takes the
that
one
he
that deems important.
and that you don't need, but he needs. And I don't think he'll ever give them back to us.
Just
And
your
that's-
most private ones.
Ooh.
Oh,
And
so
I'm-
he keeps them for safekeeping.
And that's why I can't remember it now. See, you see, he took that for maybe the GNOME drone is helping us get rid of those things by harboring it for himself. Maybe he's taking on the burden of said dreams haunting our minds. It's so magical of you. It's so magical. Of you.
I like this notion.
Andy,
So nice of you, Andy.
now that you're on the show, and now that we're going to break you open like a little flower that you are.
I think that's why he was nervous.
Yeah.
Because you were talking to him like
I
that.
know. But you're 64, you said, right?
Yeah, 64,
that's-
65 this year.
That is what Lamar would say is a masterful game of life you played, sir. It's masterful. And I think we can all hope to be in your shoes one day and accumulated such knowledge and seen the world do such amazing things and maybe some horrible things, depending on how you look at it. But when you were young, take us back as far as you can remember. What was life like in the house?
I remember pissing in the grid outside, and it was
Wait a
like
minute,
all.
hold on.
Wait,
Hold
wait,
on.
it
Time
was-
out,
it
Andy.
was-
Hold on.
Well,
hold
no,
on,
you
wait
tell
a
it.
minute.
Yeah,
Andy, hold
no,
on.
but you,
Hold on, Andy. Wait. Time out. Now, we've had a lot of interviews start off pretty kosher with, like, woke up and it was something like this, but it's the first where someone has said, well, my earliest life is I pissed in the grate, and I've never heard somebody start off this way, so it caught me off guard, and already you're a fantastic human being. I have to hear more. Go on.
you asked me to go back as far as possible, and I remember me and my brother would be playing out in the backyard or the back garden, and we weren't allowed to go into the house while we were playing out. So if we wanted a wee, we had to go to the grid.
And what is the grid?
It's just like where the downspout comes from, like drains from, say, the sink or something like that.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, like a
like
washway or something.
grid or grate or soak away or whatever. That's
gray-
sort of
like
thing.
a,
gray
like a-
water.
uh-huh,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a
Yeah.
washway.
Yeah.
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 Like we have in the backyard.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What was okay, so that's your is that your earliest memory?
I don't know.
Why don't you confront the crystal ball back there and pull out your
Excuse me.
earliest memory?
Well, it's all. I mean, 64 years. It's a long time ago.
It is.
Right.
So, I remember all sorts of little snippets and stuff like that from my childhood. But apparently, I punched my baby brother in the face when he was in the pram, having only just come back from the hospital.
Jeez.
So I was
Welcome
farmed.
home.
Yeah, I was farmed off to me mum's, my grandma, for a bit, probably just at weekends. So, but again, I think that's probably not so unnormal as it sounds. It's just one of those sort of like sibling jealousy things. I mean, you're an only child, and then all of a sudden, you've got another baby competing for your space with your parents, and obviously with twins, you wouldn't know that because you were both there almost at the same time. So
Right.
maybe you didn't experience that, but yeah, because I'm the eldest.
Oh, okay.
Of how many?
Yeah, so 3 boys
Okay.
Oh,
altogether.
wow. 3 boys all together. So do you actually remember having some sort of resentment when the newborn came in?
No,
How old were you?
I don't remember. It's just stories that your mum tells you.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I remember she used to telling me that I could only ever feed you fish fingers and chips because I was just terrible with food, and I still am really. It's like I eat a lot more now than what I used to, but back then I was. She would put something in my mouth, and I'd stick it back up again, and I was sick that much, bringing my food back up, that my teddy, as it was then, I remember it actually had eventually a green knitted outer skin.
Oh,
because this thing had been in the washing machine so much that my mum had knitted this skinny, so it looked like a cat actually, because it had like pointy ears instead of round ears. Because obviously the head was made out of a square, and you sew it around the head, and you end up with these pointy ears instead. So yeah,
So you were
childhood memories.
So you were very destructive when you were young, would you say?
Constructive as well. I mean, it's,
Oh, how so?
I mean, I'm a designer now, but back then I was always making things out of Meccano and Lego and stuff like that. I was always like making stuff, and childhood memory. I remember once my mum and they'd had these little cardboard boxes, and they were sort of like, to a child, they were like briefcase size. So I remember making this like a secret agent case with spaces for a gun and a radio and that sort of thing. Just shady memories, but one thing I do remember is that I'd made the handle for this case out of a cigarette box.
Oh, wow.
And my mum was going. I remember my mum saying, "I've got to put this away somewhere," because her mum was coming round and they didn't want them to know that they smoked.
Mm-hmm.
So even though they smoked, and even though I think my grandma smoked as well, but my mum didn't want her mum to know that she smoked. I remember that. I mean, why would I remember that? It's just,
Right.
It's weird,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Right.
Like, why would your
So-
mind hold on to that?
Yeah.
Maybe that was something that was profound to you, and the
Yeah,
art of deceit.
probably.
Maybe that was the first time you knew,
Art of
like, okay.
deceit.
Yeah.
You
What was the
deceitful
music?
bastard.
What was the music like growing up in the household? Was your dad always around? Are your parents still with you?
Yeah, I mean, they there was always a radio on. I remember listening to certain stuff on the radio and liking what I heard back then. I mean, God knows what it was, just whatever, Beach Boys and that sort of thing that came on the radio. It was some time then before, I think I must have been about 8 or 9 or even 10 even, probably, when my mum and dad got the first Russian hi-fi unit. And my dad's first couple of records was stuff like 1812 Overture, and he had like a Greek style music. There was really sort of odd stuff. Then I quite like some of it, but I think I remember. So at 10, then we went. I remember going to the planetarium in London, and with school, it was a weekend thing, so they took us away for the weekend. And in the actual planetarium itself, the music that they played in there was the Planet Suite, kind of obviously, with it being a planetarium, by Gustav Holst. And when I got back home, I remember pestering my mum and dad to get Planet Suite for me, and it was Mars Bringer of War. I remember it quite well, actually. How this one particular song, this tune, Mars Bringer of War, was just something that I had to have when I got home. So my first ever LP, and we were talking about this morning actually on Luke's January live stream. So my first ever album was The Golden Hour of Gustav Holst, which wasn't all Gustav Holst. It's not quite half. It's not quite an hour. So there was a bit of Sibelius at either end. So the first track was a Sibelius track, and the second and the last track was a Sibelius track. So that was my first album, which is really bloody weird, isn't it, for a kid back then? But
I don't
10.
think it's
so
weird.
Yeah, I don't think it's weird at all.
Yeah.
I think your taste was probably whatever your ears loved at the time. It's normal. Like I don't think there's a classification of what music interest you have.
Right. What? Okay.
I have a quick question in the chat,
Okay.
really quick, from Uncle Jerry's World. He wants to know where the name Synkrotron came from. What inspired that name?
Oh, good question.
Okay, so back in 2000, so sort of very, very late 1999, early 2000, the chap who I was working with, or another guy that was in the office, we used to call him Tony the Pony because he had long hair and wore it in a ponytail. But he was into music as well, and we used to talk about doing stuff. And I was making my own music by then. I'd first started making music back in 1980, but in my second stint, it was around about the late 1990s that I started to make music again. But Tony the Pony, my mate, was saying, "Oh, there's this website called mp3.com. Why don't you put some of my music on there?" So the next thing you're doing is you're looking at, so what shall I call myself? And I didn't want to call myself Andy. or my full name or wherever. So I then researched sort of names, and it took me bloody ages. It took me about a month or two, and no Google back then. I think it must have been something like Yahoo, probably. And you'd think of something, put it into the search, and it'd come up, oh, already taken. So I came up with this. I tried Synkrotron because in Warrington there is actually a Synkrotron, a particle accelerator at Daresbury. And so I thought, oh right, okay. Well, what about Synkrotron then? But then I thought, well, I'll just because like everyone, instead of spelling it properly, you spell it differently. So I took the CH out and made it a K, Synchro with a K, and did a search, and there was nothing. So I thought, great. But funnily enough, about another 6 months later, I did find a Synkrotron, actually. There is another Synkrotron in the world, but it's a guy in Norway, and he's a poet. So I messaged him, and I said, hi, I'm just started doing a music project, and I've used Synkrotron as my music name. Is that a problem with you? And he emailed back and said, no, that's okay. We're far enough apart in terms of what we do. So yeah, by all means,
Oh, that's pretty cool.
knock yourself out, sort of thing. So I think his second name's Bostrom or something like that.
Both doing art in some form or fashion.
Yeah. And also Synkrotron, spelt how I spell it, is also actually how they spell it in Scandinavia.
Oh, so I was going to ask that. Was it spelt the same?
Yeah.
So it was spelt the same.
Yeah.
Wow.
So what else does Synkrotron mean? Like if someone said, hey, what does that mean to you?
It's a particle accelerator, that's all it is. It's a scientific device.
Okay, and that's something you stand behind, or it associates
Kind of,
with
yeah.
you?
It's like, space music or spacey stuff, or, and I'm very, very much into science fiction.
Yeah.
So it's Secret Clause. I was watching the chat go up here. No, it wasn't. I never thought of that one, Sal. So
Secret Clause.
yeah. So that's so yeah. To answer Jerry's question, that's where it came from.
Yeah. Okay. So a lot of people don't know, and I'm gonna get this out of the way real quick here. And I'll do this for 2 minutes only. Turn it up, Daryl, because people weren't here in the beginning.
Don't forget our hankies out.
Get your hankies out.
Okay.
Very nice. That was
Very
great,
nice.
that one, Matt.
So what that means to me, and I'm glad Unit E is in the comment section. I had no idea or what direction I wanted to go into music. And Luke was doing something I thought was very cool. But Luke said, man, do you know of Synkrotron? Because he knew I was searching for a style. And Unit E knew I was searching for a style. I mean, Unit E and my brother and Marilyn, they knew we had something of a style already going, but I didn't know what type of artist personally I wanted to become. And so I gave this to Luke, and Luke was like, man, do you know who Andy is? And I go, no. And then Luke goes, you should go check out a person named Synkrotron. And I go, wait a minute. I've seen this dude or her. I didn't know. in a lot of comment sections. And, you know, when I see your name Synkrotron, I'm thinking, oh, it's this young kid who likes music and I don't know, might be an artist himself. The name is amazing. I like Synkrotron. And then every time I would be in these comment sections, Synkrotron, not really knowing who I am.
Synchro.
That's what I'm saying, Synkrotron. I'm just saying it
He's
fast.
saying it fast.
Yeah. So I go, I'll make comments, and then Andy would always say, hi Trusto, you know? And no matter where I went, this guy was in the same comment as me. And every time he see me, he goes, hi Trusto. And then I go, wait, why do I keep seeing this name? Then I go into Hardware Jams. And there he is again. I'm like, who in the fuck is this guy? Right? He's everywhere. And why does he go out of his way to say hi to everyone? Right? And
Or night.
Or night. That's recently. But I was like, okay, now I remember this name. So I finally, and I was lurking like Jervis. I went into his channel. And I just went back to the earliest music he was creating, all these drones. And I'm sitting there and I'm just listening. And I listened for like a couple of weeks. And I go back and listen to some of Luke's stuff. And I go back to Synkrotron's channel and I go, that is it. It's very, like there's not a whole lot of percussion. And it's these isolated sounds that just go forever, and they literally sound magical. Then he breaks out the guitar and he does his thing, and I'm like, well, I have a guitar, I don't play it like I want to, but my brother plays the bass, and I'm like, what if I start droning more and let my brother just do kind of like what Andy does, but do it with the bass, and we kind of take things in a different route. And lo and behold, I found the artist I want to be because of Synkrotron. And it's amazing for you to do what you do and play it so cool on your channel, but you get here and you play it so stiff. So I would just like to let you know, Andy, from me to you, you are the main reason why and how I found my style and who I want to be as a musician. Thank you. Let's give Andy a round of applause.
Very humbling. Thank you very much.
Andy, the gnome comes through. The gnome gives you style. The
round
gnome
of
gives
applause.
you flavor.
Yeah, it got going around. I don't. Yeah. So Andy, why?
I'm getting an echo.
Are you?
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
listening to that.
Do you have us playing somewhere in the background, Andy?
No, it's muted.
I don't know where that could be coming from.
Do you have a hot mic in here somewhere? Is that
No, that mic is off.
And nobody's
I'm definitely
phone
muted.
is up, right?
That's never been the issue.
That's weird, but I'm getting an echo.
Huh.
I can't hear any echoes.
Yeah, I can't hear it now.
Yeah, it must be from our end. And that volume on this laptop is off, right?
They don't hear it in the chat.
Yeah, I think it's it. Was it up?
It's just on our end.
Okay. All right.
We'll figure it out. So where did
Cornish wants to know if Andy's brushed his hair today.
have you?
Well, I'll say no, but I did actually. Yeah, I did. But I mean, the headphones are on, so. And the only reason I've got the headphones on is because my mic's there. I've got I've got a Lavalier mic. It's like a little 20 quid USB mic, which I think the sound is awesome for 20 quid.
Yeah, it is.
I can't be bothered with all this.
Really good.
Well,
yeah.
I tried a dangly mic thing, because I've got a couple of condenser mics, and because I'm sometimes sat at my PC doing DAW stuff or sat over here, it just didn't make sense to have a dangly mic. Anyway, so.
Yeah. So
Going off at a tangent there, sorry.
No, that's fine. That's fine. You're talking. That's good. Why the drone? Where did the droning portion of you come from? Why stay in that genre?
Okay, so yeah, good question. I'm a lazy son of a
Go ahead, say it. Andy.
Biatch.
There you go.
I like how you said that.
That a boy.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just so crap at writing songs, and I became more interested in sort of like sound design and effects, but I still like playing the guitar as well. So I started to sort of like do the come up with a bed like via whatever means, whether it be synths or sample libraries or whatever, or put through effects. I used to use a lot of effects in the box, and then I'd noodle along to it with my guitar. There's an effect called Adaptive Verb, which I used to use. I don't use it anymore because I've gone all hardware pretty much. But Adaptive Verb is really weird, because you can put notes and tones and whatever you want into Adaptive Verb, and it just spreads it out into like a big mush of sound, perfect for drones. So that's what you'll hear if you've listened to some of my back catalogue. Then that's what you'll be hearing. So a lot of my stuff early doors was done with this Adaptive Verb. But yeah, I mean, I was just rubbish. I mean, I have got some songs with structure and not chorus verse, of course. I mean, I don't do lyrics or anything like that. But I'm not very good at it, and I prefer the drone, and so I obviously developed a bit of a skill, and I think part of that skill is actually being patient, because some people actually, and I've even had this said to me in various chats here and there, that they don't have the patience. They like listening to drones, but they haven't got the patience to do what I do, to create like a sort of an interesting drone. I mean, I say that tongue in cheek. I mean, I'll still refer to them as boring, but drones with movements and stuff like that. But that video that I did last year is a good one to go to for doing drones with at least modular stuff. In any case,
but you can't possibly believe that drones are
boring. Especially when he told you that you changed his musical direction. And I actually like drones now because it gives me room to express myself, not so much heavily dependent on a backbeat, but to just actually not be rushed into a beat and a groove.
Well, I mean,
it just drone.
Yeah, for me, creatively, it just released me.
Yeah.
It released me from the shackles of actually creating, I mean, I know what I want to do. I mean, I want to do Tangerine Dream stuff, and I mean, I'd love to be able to do prog. I'd love to be able to do prog rock. I mean, if anything, I listen to a lot of Porcupine Tree, Steve Wilson. I mean, bands like Yes and what have you. But I've also loved like electronic music, going back to 72. So I was about 12 when I first started to hear synth music on the radio and stuff, with records like Popcorn and what have you. But and I try to do that sort of stuff. I mean, I've got 2 CDs worth of 2000 stuff. My first album was called Synkrotron, because everyone does that, don't they? Your first album's actually called the same as the band name. And then the second album I created was called Vast. And I really wish I could share them with you, but they're absolute utter crap. The mixing is crap. I didn't know anything about EQ. At all back then. You had to rely on magazines, so you're always like cutting stuff out of magazines and trying to learn stuff out of your musical magazines for stuff like that. But I didn't really cotton on to it. So when I've gone back to my old stuff and thought, well, I'll start sticking it on SoundCloud, and I bring it into Reaper to do some probably some remastering, and I'm going, oh my god, this is just unrecoverable. Just a big massive hump of mids with hardly any bass and hardly any high end, and so I thought, well, that's it. Those 2 albums have gone. Yeah, so I mean, going back to the drone thing, it's literally just me going back to basic sound design and not being shackled with doing proper structured tunes. And I started to listen to. I mean, I'm sure many people would have heard of John Fox.
I haven't.
John Fox.
No.
He used to play with Ultravox. I mean, maybe some of the guys can confirm in the chat while I'm talking about it. Yeah, so John Fox. I hadn't even heard of John Fox before, but I used to buy a magazine called Future Music, and it came with a CD attached to it. And yeah, John Fox with 2 X's, Steve. Yeah. So one of the so on this cover disc for the magazine, you would have probably 2 or 3 commercial tracks and about another 4 or 5 tracks by unknown artists, and then there'd be other things as well. There'd be like samples and stuff like that. But one particular episode, one of these magazines, it came with a John Fox song on it from his Cathedral Oceans album. So I really like that, and I thought, well, it's kind of like there's a bit of Gregorian chant on it and that sort of thing, but very, very lush pads. And I bought the album. Actually, I went into the record shop and said, I need John Fox Cathedral Oceans, please. I've never heard of it. Hold on a sec. So he went onto his little computer screen and goes, "Oh, yeah, I can get hold of that. I can get it you about in about a month." I thought, that'll do. Yeah. How much is it? £10. Yeah, then. And I waited, a month or so for this Cathedral Oceans to come in, and I really like that. And it was just, it's beatless, structureless, and I just thought, this is just perfect. This is where I want to be. And also around about this, say about 5 years later. So 2015. In fact, I'm getting my time mixed up. I mean, I bet I bought Cathedral Oceans probably around about 2000 and something, but I can't remember. But then I bought, I come across Music for Airports by Brian Eno. And for me, if anyone asks, I always say, like, for the ambient stuff at least, if not so much the drone, but for my ambient stuff, if I want to go back to bass, I always play Music for Airports, because it's an example of just completely, you don't know what's coming next. I mean, one of the attributes of ambient music, for instance, is that it's not like a song. When you hear a song, you can even a song that you've never heard before, you kind of know when something's going to change, when the next key change is going to come, or the chorus, because your mind is counting the bars, and so you go, right, 12 bars in and something's going to change. But with ambient music, it doesn't do that, and Music for Airports certainly doesn't do that. So that's sort of bringing that onto drones then. So I went to that next stage of going, well, I'm going to take the structure away even more and just play a single, almost just like a single note. Obviously it isn't. There's more layers to it than that. But yeah, just took me straight away from the and as I said, it just released me, and I've got a pile of stuff on Bandcamp. It's ridiculous. I've got about 18 albums and 2 singles or something on Bandcamp now, which I couldn't have done that without removing those shackles. And then every now and then, I mean, I will do, you know, I've even got some percussion stuff on SoundCloud, because every now and then I'd go, let's try some, like say Hive came out. I remember Hive came out, the Yuhi soft synth, and I created a track just with Hive, and put that on SoundCloud. So it wasn't even really ambient, to be honest with you. It was just electronic music. I mean, I wouldn't like to even try and categorize it into any genre. It was just music. And then I'd go back to my drones. So yeah. What was the question?
Like Andy said it. He said using drones isn't lazy. It's a way of boosting creativity, and they are a great base to build a music composition.
Yeah, and I think you said it. You said it took you out of the shackles. Well, that's another expression of freedom. And I think drones, you have the ability to do that. You have the ability to stop, think, maybe not even that sometimes, and just play what the moment gives you.
Yeah.
And you don't even have to record it. It was just in the moment.
What does your wife think of your droning and music stuff?
She doesn't like them.
Oh, she doesn't? She's not a fan?
No, she's not really a fan. Well, actually, I mean, not wholly true. There was one of my most recent ones. It was called Sounds in the Ether. And she said she actually liked that because there was a little bit more to it. But otherwise, I mean, she calls it the plinky plonky stuff, you know. and my poor wife has been asking for many years, you know, you've got a guitar, why can't you play some Led Zeppelin for me? But I mean, I got me, don't know, there's my acoustic guitar over there, just out of shot. You can just see like the little shape of the body there. That's my Eco 6 6-string guitar that I got off my mate's mum's catalogue back in 1979, so I'll be 19. And ever since getting that guitar, I have never tried to play somebody else's songs, apart from, you know, I gave it the, you know, it was always cool back in the day to play a couple of bars from Stairway to Heaven.
Right.
For instance. And I also learned one of the, like a Black Sabbath song. I can't remember which one it was now, though. But there's a really sort of tuneful, mellow Black Sabbath song. It's like, I can't remember what it's called now. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it's called. And I also learned to play Pink Floyd's Wish You Were Here. That's one of my favourites to play.
Yeah.
But other than that, I've never bothered to try and learn somebody else's tunes.
Yeah.
So and even when I joined the band, I was in a band called Flesh Resonance.
Oh no shit!
And we used to do sort of well, they called it, their tagline was dark ambient electro rock, but I think they could have just dropped the ambient bit. It was you know, there was percussion, guitar, bass, singing. It was all right. It wasn't bad stuff.
Did you sing? Were you the singer?
No. I mean, I couldn't. I've actually got a song called "I Wish I Could Sing." I actually posted a link to it. I put it on SoundCloud and posted a link in Luke's chat for about half an hour, and then I removed it because it's just. And it was back in the, because so one of the back in 1980-ish, 81, something like that. I was able to. I got some money off my grandma, and I was able to buy some stuff, and I bought one of those items was a TIAC Tascam 4-track cassette recorder. So I experimented with singing on that, and it's just not my thing.
I would love to hear this.
Yeah, right.
But no, you're not going to hear
Boshtik
it.
has a question.
Yeah.
Boshtik 247 says, "Do did you get your OB12 in the early 2000s, and did this get used for your ambient/drone style back then?
No. So yes, I got it. I got it when they first come out. So I'm trying to remember when that would have been. I have to try and remember. So I mean, I bought the. I know I definitely bought the JP8000 in 1997. I then followed that up a couple of years later with an Ovation Nova desktop. So it would have been around about 2000-ish, 2001 probably, that I bought the OB12. There's a fantastic preset on there, which I used extensively in one particular song that I did on my second album. So I mean, there are some good droney stuff, presets on it, but no, I wasn't doing drone at all then. Well, as I say, I wasn't doing drone. I mean, I don't know. See, the problem is, right, with drone, and just if we went back to about 1980 again, there was a track that came out onto the radio, a Beatles track actually. It's called Tomorrow Never Knows, and it's a drone track. So one of the things you got to realise about drones is drone isn't just what I do. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not just like a lush, full. I mean, you could almost call mine wall of drone. It's just totally in your face. Hardly any dynamic range. But Tomorrow Never Knows is a drone track, and it came from the time. I think it was about the time, or when they came back from India. So as a lot of people know, but the Beatles went over to India. It was like a fashionable thing to do back in the day. They would go to India, sort of study under a guru. I think it was Ravi Shankar that I can't remember now, to be honest. I can't remember who was their guru, but the end result of that was, so George Harrison in particular went sort of like down the sitar route, which has your drone elements to it. So Tomorrow Never Knows, if you ever listen to that, you'll just go, oh yeah, this is just it's what is it, cultural misappropriation or something you probably call it nowadays.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just, I mean, and I remember, I mean, I bought Revolver, the Beatles album Revolver, just for that track, because I couldn't find the single. And I wasn't really a singles person either by that time. I mean, I stopped buying singles in my sort of like mid-teens. So, if I was to go back to drone, my first ever experience of drone would have been Tomorrow Never Knows. And then sort of like later on, and with sort of, again, without really knowing it, and I only know this because I've just finished reading a book back end of last year. I bought a book called, oh God, what's it called now? Something Undertow, Monolithic. What a brain! It's a book. It's a book. It's a book by Harry Sword called the Monolithic Undertow, and it's all about drones, and it's going back to like the late 50s, early 60s, and again when there was a lot of bands, people, sort of like experiencing and going over to India, learning all about their cultural music. And don't get me wrong, I mean, what we've got to understand as well is, I mean, Westerners go over to India. In India, it's bloody serious. You can't just pick up their ragas and go, yeah, I've done a raga. It's so flipping serious. They get so deep into the spiritual side of what that is, that we kind of made a bit of a mockery of it, doing our bit, going over there, coming back over here to the States or whatever, and doing our own versions of it. Because then we would just forget about all the spiritual side of it and just, smoke whatever you want to smoke in them days, and and chill out to the drone.
Well, back in
Oh wait, hold on. Ken has a follow-up question to that one. I don't want to
Okay.
miss it. He wants to know: does Andy know his OB12 has 2 expression ports on the back?
It does, yeah. So it's got I think it has. It's got I know it's got a pedal for the like your ordinary pedal. But if it has got 2, yeah, great. I ain't going to use it. I don't even. I mean, I laugh to myself because everyone's talking about, oh, this is great. This is MPE, blah blah blah, and I'm going MPE. I turn off after touch. It's just too much. It's too much to think about.
Yeah.
I mean, I see people playing the Osmos and stuff like that, and I think, oh yeah, that's great, but it's just not for me. I'm terrible, me. So yeah, thanks, Ken. I did know, but yeah, nothing's not plugged into it. Do you know what I mean? I don't even use the stereo out from these. So obviously, all my synths, like all keyboard synths, they have a stereo output because they've usually got like a chorus or stereo effects, that sort of thing. And you can also build your patches up as well, so that you can pan them. So you can pan, your various elements of your sort of like 4 parts or whatever, the different parts of the stereo field. I take a mono out of these just to save inputs into my audio devices, and then rely on doing the stereo stuff in my DAW or using lots of reverb. I use a ton of reverb, like a lot of ambient artists do. So yeah, I'm very, very sort of simple and basic when it comes to things like that, I guess.
Yeah, I was going to say back on your drone topic that I think Buddhist monks and the Tibetan culture did a lot of droning. A lot of it was for meditation, and then
A lot of it was vocally too.
Yeah, and the Tibetans were known Tibetans were known for their droning music.
Singing bowls, that sort of thing.
Right, right. So I think
Singing bowls are cool.
They're way cool. And I think drone has been around longer than what we actually.
Oh
think.
yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's just that we kind of make history to suit ourselves, don't we? Really, and like this the monolithic undertow book is quite good actually, because it goes back to like 5,000 years ago. So when there are certain, I can't remember, I haven't written anything down, but there are caves, say, in some parts of the world where the scientists have been down there, and also acoustic scientists, psychoacoustic scientists have been down there and said, well, these places, you can feel it. You could actually imagine the like a shaman type person, or whatever, a spiritual head or whatever, being down there, gathering the people coming down, chanting, and the walls, so you can imagine just the echoing off all the walls, that these chants would just build and build, and it would be a completely awe-inspiring experience.
Yeah, they say
to be in this, and this is going back, like I said, 5,000 years.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And they said it was very euphoric, and the properties of the hertz in which they did it in was actually healing a lot of the people and healing the mentality of people. What do you think about that? You think music can do that?
I don't know. I mean, I'm a bit skeptic when it comes to that sort of stuff. I mean, I'm you can just put a big fat skeptic sign over my head for everything. I'm one of these people that wants to see it before I believe it.
Okay.
So,
well, let me rephrase it. Let me rephrase it, Andy.
Yeah, go on.
Is there some music that make you feel emotional? It can make you cry, and
Cathartic, even. I don't know. Well, yeah. I mean,
so there's
rarely.
emotional response, right? There's some music that can make you angry and just not want to listen to it anymore.
Not really, no. I mean, I have my sort of genre dislikes. And do you know what? I mean, if someone have asked me sort of like 20 years ago, do you ever listen to country? And I would say, no chance. Don't listen to that country crap. But then you listen to something like some of the songs that, let's say, like Johnny. I mean, perhaps Johnny Cash isn't country, but you know, you hear some songs that are obviously not what you would normally listen to, and you go, "Wow, that voice is awesome." But you kind of like pigeonhole things, don't you? You pigeonhole the music into sort of like a short. Like, I mean, I don't like rap, and yet I listen to rap elements in songs that I listen to. So it's silly for me to say I don't like rap. It's just that
You don't like
I
it
guess,
in certain forms.
Yeah, and there's only so many hours in the day anyway. So I mean, if I'm not listening to, I mean, my listening habits are all screwed up nowadays anyway, because I spend more time listening to non-commercial stuff done by friends and people on the internet than I do listening to me commercial stuff. If I listen to commercial stuff, I'll be listening to Meshuggah, for instance. I mean, Meshuggah is really weird in as much as a friend said, "Oh yeah, I've listened to this." He said, "You probably won't like it." He said, "I struggle to listen to it anyway, but yeah, you borrow that for a bit and let me know what you think." And I took this Meshuggah album home and played it, and I thought, wow, this is just amazing. It's are you familiar with Meshuggah at all?
No.
They are a sort of, I don't know what prog metal, prog death metal, or I don't know. I'm not too sure what they are, to be honest. It is such a the guy doesn't sing. It's one of these. You could probably say, oh, it's just shouting, but it's not. It's a particular style of vocal, and it's driven guitars. I'm not even sure. I think they do have a bass player when they go out on the road, but they down tune their guitar so much that I don't think they even need a bass player. But anyway, the reason why I'm mentioning this is because it's sometimes music is like it just affects you in different ways, and sometimes I'll just want to put on Meshuggah and go, this is, and you'd listen to it and you'd go, well, that's angry music, but it's not. It's for me, it's like it is cathartic. It's so every time a new one of theirs comes out, I buy it pretty much now.
Right,
and
it elicited a response
Emotionally.
chemically and emotionally within the human. And when
I
you
think
do,
so. Yeah, probably.
When you do your, and here's the point I'm trying to get to, Andy.
Okay.
When you do your Saturday show, I sit there and I read the comments. Okay. Everyone is involved in what you are doing, and they love what you are doing because of how it makes them feel emotionally and physically. So with that response, do you think they're there just for Andy to be on and just to look at you and go, I'll be here even without music? What's really triggering the emotion and the behavior process of a human being? And if you're looking at that on a minute level of can music heal people, I strongly suggest you kind of rethink that as in terms of evidence, because I'm not trying to tell you what evidence you should look at or if it's real or not, but you can see small changes in people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's a response, and that's like anytime I feel good, even when I'm sick, when we came in here and we were droning and jamming, boy, Andy, I sure forgot about I was being sick for at least a good 30 minutes straight. You know what I mean? So
well, it certainly takes you into a certain zone, doesn't it? If nothing else, it just takes you into a zone.
Yep. Crazy Rabbit said, Andy heals me every Saturday morning.
right. So
Well, I mean, it's really strange, that, isn't it? I mean, I don't know. I do find that a little bit. I don't know. I'm just amazed at how many people turn up You know, for someone with like less than 1,000 subs, and I've got like sometimes 45 to 50 people listening, and I'm thinking, wow, you know, what's going on here? I think one day, I think 80 people turned in, and at that point, I'm thinking, holy shit.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to start getting nervous now because 80 is a lot.
No.
And I was going to say, what do you think drives the self-confidence?
Yeah.
Like, why not 45 people? Why not 80 people? Why do you think you're surprised by what you create is just not good enough?
Yeah.
That's what I'm
Well,
getting.
because I put lots of jazz notes in there. One thing you've got to understand, I guess, is I don't consider myself to be a particularly good guitar player. And, you know, considering I've been playing guitar since 19 and I'm 64 now, so that's a long time playing guitar. I've always stayed at a particular level because, like, proper guitarists would be playing guitars for, you know, they would practice 3 or 4 hours a day, every day, for the whole of their life, pretty much, apart from perhaps when, you know, they might go off on a holiday with the family and leave the guitar at home, wherever. I have not done that. My guitar has been picked up and put down for many months. I mean, you can even tell that on my back catalogue. You will hear stuff where I've not even done guitar. And so what I used to do, so going back to, like, you know, 2015 up to, say, 2 or 3 years ago, probably even just 18 months ago, really. So all my guitar up to that point, I would record it while listening to one of my drones. I would just record, and then I would chop up the bits that worked out well, and I would fix bits that were broken, or do it, or play it again. If I thought there was something that was like a nice phrase, I would play it until I got it right. So the difference now is I am picking up the guitar and I am doing a take and trying my hardest not to throw too many jazz notes in there. And so while I'm doing my live streams, I'll have my mic on and I'll go, oh, jazz note.
Yeah.
but for me, that's the best part.
Yeah.
Whenever I throw a bad note in there, I'm always like, oh, just remind myself just to keep moving forward, and it's going to happen. And I try my best not to even worry about it, because if you're good enough, and you don't have to be Led Zeppelin or whatever your ideal of good is, you just got to keep moving forward, and that it all sounds good.
Yeah, Crazy Rabbit said it. He said the numbers don't matter. The presence and the vibe can't be quantified.
Right. Which leads to the question of, like, how do you feel when we're all watching, Andy? Like, how does that make you feel?
Well, I mean, yes, I'm always humbled that, you know, people like Tracker Jack, for instance, he's been there from my first couple of streams. Inverted Popes, he's been tuning in for a long time, and the fact that they're still with me after a year and a bit, 18 months or whatever, and they're turning up there weekend after weekend. It's just it's humbling. It's But then again, on the flip side, and I've always said this, it's like all I'm doing is, so when I live stream on a Saturday morning, I'm just opening my door to my studio. Come in, take a seat, have a chat. While you're chatting, I'll do this.
And
You
still
can be
one of
chatting
your
away.
dreams. Yeah.
and just and I'll capture your dreams while you sat there, and that's where I am really with the Saturday mornings. It's it just works perfectly. I mean, okay, it's bad for the poor Craig has to stay awake till 3 a.m. And poor Luke has to get up at 5 o'clock. to be able to watch me and you guys as well, because you're in the same zone as Luke, aren't you?
Yeah.
So I mean, it is bad for that. But otherwise,
we still catch it. We still like.
yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
so one of the reasons why I like to do 2-stroke 3-hour live streams, is it allows people to pop in and out. So, you know, somebody might get up at, say, in the States, they might get up, you know, Boston or wherever, they might get up at 6, and they'll go, oh, Andy's like, I'll go and watch Andy for an hour. So, you know, just because I'm on for 2 or 3 hours doesn't mean to say that I expect you to be there for 2 or 3 hours. It's a session that's like booked for this amount of time, and if you can make it for half an hour between this and this, and then that's perfect. It's just turn up whenever you can. It's
Yeah.
you know, it's
Tracy Arms has a question. Which, I don't know how you pronounce that.
Miss Sugar.
Yeah. Album would you recommend as a starter?
The latest one, which I think is called Immutable. So IMMUTABLE, Immutable, only because it's the latest one, and they're still doing the thing, and they're not. I mean, like some bands, they do change a lot, but this is like it's same without being repetitive, and it's just good to listen to, I think, and it's not something that you can sing along to either. It's just purely just sticking your headphones on and losing yourself in a bit of musical violence for half an hour or an hour.
Andy, go ahead,
one more
go
question
ahead.
from the chat. Boshik247 is asking, do you make music for you first and the audience second, in a positive way, of course?
Initially it's for me, but I've since more and more people have been tuning in over the last 6 months or so, I sometimes feel that I need to be able to perform something. Now, if you tune into some of my earlier live streams, I would spend a lot of time waffling and faffing around with stuff and not even doing any music. So it would be, you know, trying this, trying that. The difference now is I feel almost compelled, if you like, because what I'm worried about is if I start doing me faff, me repatching for, you know, like a patch from scratch sort of thing, people are going to get bored and tune away. But then again, that's going against my other ethos of I've opened my studio door. Pop in. You can come in for 10 minutes. You can come in for the 2 hours if you want. I'm just doing this, so I need to remind myself that just because I think people are expecting a performance doesn't mean to say that that's what I've got to do. If one day I decide that I'm going to strip everything out and start from scratch for that day, then that's what I'm doing, and I'm sure peeps will still tune in and they'll chat away. They'll chat about something, and they'll be making jokes and funny comments and stuff, and that's great too. It's just all it's just
Same here. It's the same here, Andy. We like come in this room and socialize,
Yep.
and if you have questions, good. If you like what you hear, good. But come out, hang with us in our studio, see how we operate. And I can almost imagine everyone here in the studio just hanging out, socializing, and being a part of the environment.
And well, he would always say too, it's going to be boring. I know you guys are not. We're going to lose people because you don't want to see that. He's not said it for a while now, but it's like one of those things. But that's what we designed this channel to be: to come watch us construct, to watch us build.
Like you said, 10 minutes or 2 hours.
Yeah,
You know?
I think if you get outside of that, I think the show is going to do what the show does regardless. It's going to interest some people and it's not going to impress others. And you got to be good with yourself to let those people do their own thing while you stay
absolutely.
focused, like doing your thing. I wanted to go back real quick to your teens. Did you ever like have to have your parents sponsor you, so to say, to get your first instrument? And what was the first instrument?
No, I didn't show any aptitude at all, really, for making music. I remember my dad had a guitar, and this is a bit of advice actually to anybody who's thinking of picking up guitar, is don't scrimp on quality early doors.
I agree.
My dad had this guitar. Although, I mean, saying that, I mean, even the cheap guitars nowadays that are amazing quality when it comes to intonation, action, all the rest of it. But anyway, so my dad had this guitar, and I mean, it was never ever tuned. And I remember picking it up and going, "Oh, I don't like this." The strings must have been about 1/4 of an inch off the fretboard, and I never heard my dad playing it. So, but I can go back to. I mean, this is childhood memories again. And I don't know how this would relate to people over in the States, but what I would call 4th year of juniors. So by this time I'm getting to around about 10, and then at 11, sort of like 10 to 11, you then go over to so-called big school. But in my junior school, there were 2 4th year classes. They were next door to each other, and it was Mr. Mitchell's and Mrs. Neeson's. And before you even, just as you were getting towards ready to go into those that next level of the next age group sort of thing, you were given singing tests, right? So you had to come along and sing some
Andy
piece.
said, I failed.
And yeah, well, I mean, this is how, for me, and I've got my own opinions on this now. Schools can be so crap, because they decide for you what they think you're going to do when you grow up, and you have no bloody say in it at all. But anyway, that's going off on one. So Mrs. Neeson's was the musical class, and Mr. Mitchell's was the let's make stuff class. And I had more of an aptitude for make stuff, and my singing was crap. So I never went into the music class. I went into the making stuff class. And then when it came to going into big school, so by this time you could choose which. I think it might have been just after the first. So it might have been part way through the first. I can't remember now, but what I do remember distinctly is, so you can drop these classes, these courses if you want. And the first thing that I dropped was music, because I just did not get it. I did not get the triangle. Ting.
Oh yeah.
Ting.
Yeah.
Little symbol, ting, 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 ting. I didn't get that. I mean, and thinking back, I thought, what a dickhead, because that's what people do in orchestras. There'll be sheet music, and they'll be going. They'll have these big frigging dock-off cymbals, and they'll be going. And that'll be it.
Right.
That's their lot. But as a sort of as a 10, 11-year-old kid, you don't get that. You want to immediately want to make whatever it is you're listening to at the time. So you don't really understand the value of learning music theory and all that sort of stuff. So I dropped it anyway. And I didn't pick up music again until I don't know what it was. I mean, it was a really strange one, really. I mean, I was into my Tangerine Dream and my Jean-Michel Jarre and Kraftwerk, all that sort of stuff. So I was getting into my electronic stuff, as well as some of the prog stuff. And I just thought, I want to play guitar. And as I said, I bought this thing at my mum's catalogue. It was about 90 quid. Which back then was like, oh my God, that would have been about, friggin' hell, 4 weeks' wages, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Back in them days. So, but it was a catalogue. It was so you could pay it monthly or whatever. and that's when I first started playing guitar. And then probably a little bit later on, once I'd left home, I'd experimented with some really, really awful so-called organ stroke synths. Dare I say Bon Tempi? I mean, it might not have been, but I mean, it was something like that. Because I wanted to try and start to make, or at least play along to that sort of stuff like Tangerine Dream and what have you. Yeah, I've kind of lost my trail now. So next question,
no,
please.
you're not. Are you happy where you are now as far as your musical endeavors, or is there somewhere else you're thinking about you want to transition to?
Oh, I'm 64, man. I could wake up dead tomorrow, couldn't I?
Yeah.
I'm really not thinking about
age
it.
doesn't
You know,
matter.
it's, I'm honestly not. No, I'm in a good place. I think I've found my sound. I think. Okay, does that make me even more boring than Mr. Boring? I don't know, possibly. I mean, I do like to mix it up a little bit with my stuff. So something will be. Sometimes I'll do just pure drone stuff where there's not even sequencing or anything in it. It's just drone. Every now and then I'll then sort of like I'll then do an album which is a lot more sequencer driven, almost probably Berlin School or wherever.
Electronic Composer said 64 is not old, dude.
Well, it depends. I mean, I can. Do you want to go into more into that one? Because I've got some.
Yeah. Why do you always have to say
Boring.
these terms like boring and your age and this and
You're
that?
not boring.
Like
80 people waking up at whatever various times on Saturday morning.
Does not waste their lives on boring.
Yeah, and okay, here's the better topic. Let's walk away from music. We're in a new hour now, so let's go here. What was some of your ups and downs in life? What can we learn from Andy?
Well,
start with the downs, Andy. What was the worst down?
They've been there. I mean, everyone has their ups and downs, but I mean, obviously, this is where I'm going to say I couldn't possibly comment. So, because I mean, I don't want to start opening skeletons in the cupboard and stuff like that. And
well, don't open scary skeletons. You don't have to do that.
Just whatever you're comfortable with. I mean, but I would start with the skeletons.
well, I mean, obviously,
well, you're an open book.
You're
You don't
around
care.
family, Andy. Come on, give us the good stuff. Spare us nothing.
This is the internet, dudes. This isn't me and the Dixons.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
It's you
So-
and the Dixons and everybody else who wants to click on the link.
But can I just challenge the people that are saying that 64 is nothing?
Go ahead.
And you can say that, right? I mean, everyone can say, yeah, oh well, yeah, my neighbour's 103, Cressy, yeah, I've seen that. It's very much an individual thing, okay?
Yeah.
And until you get there, you will never really know for sure, right? So
Very true.
I'm in a situation now at 64 where I can honestly say I'm feeling a bit old. Aches and pains, that sort of thing. I'm very sedentary these days. I mean, because of my knees, I can't really walk far nowadays anyway. So my health isn't what it should be. Let's put it this way: I am not going to organise a London Marathon run anytime soon, or a swim across the Channel. It would just kill me. I take tablets for my heart pressure, which is another worry. And that's partly, I mean, probably because I've had too many pies. So, but what I want to try and get across here, peeps, right, is it's all right. It's all well and good saying, yeah, my neighbour's 103, And we all see it on the news, don't we? We'll see it on the 90-year-old swims the channel in record time. That's one person.
Out
right,
of how
out
many,
of many
people? Yeah, very true.
So so some of us, some people age sooner than others. That's all I can say.
That's true, 'cause
you can't judge one person based on somebody else that that's 103 and can run up Mount Everest in 2 days.
Yeah, that's very true, because you'll have people who are like 50 who are worse off.
Yeah.
Right. But I think it comes from a good place when people make this comment.
Yes.
I don't think it's coming from a negative place.
Yeah.
I just think they know what they see and what they know of you. And when you shoot out your age like that, to them, it doesn't matter. Now, I get it's something personal to Andy. I get that. And that always will be an Andy thing. But at the same time, it's something to someone else. And they see the person in front of them. And, I think when we all see that, we're looking at greatness, and we don't want greatness to fall ill mindset, whether we know what's going on health-wise or not. We just want to be positive, and I guess we kind of want, Synkrotron to stay in a positive mindset without.
Without
knowing the full context.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, there is no way. I am not negative about waking up dead tomorrow at all. I mean, it's just. I just want people to know the
I'm just
facts.
saying for us who's looking in the window from the outside,
And I will also share this as well. It's one thing I will share. I mean, I used to sort of like half jokingly say to myself, I've got to get to 2020. And the only reason for that is that my dad died shortly into his 60th year, heart attack. His dad died at 59 with a heart attack.
Yeah.
My mum died at 64 from a heart attack. So, you kind of go, okay, so there are other mitigating factors, like, well, I don't smoke. So there's probably a bit of a more chance of me getting past and this year I will actually surpass my mum's age. My mum was 60, she was in her 64th year. My mum passed away the same year actually that 9/11 occurred. In fact, it was the same week. Because while 9/11 was going off, my mum passed away by the Friday. I think 9/11 was the Tuesday. I always remember that. And then I found my mum. She'd passed away in the night sometime. I phoned her up and she wasn't answering her phone, so I had to go around there and find out if anything was wrong. Because I used to do her shopping and stuff for the weekend. But it's so that's why. I mean, I've got this sort of like it's a bit of a. It is a bit of an odd thing to say. I mean, and I know it does sound negative, but I'm glad to have got to at least this age now, and anything else is like,
Bonus.
borrowed time, and I'm just gonna
icing on your cake.
Yeah. Did anyone in your family, like your mom, your dad, grandfather, did they play music or any instrument?
My dad tried to play guitar, because that's why he had the guitar. But like I said, I never heard him play it. We did have a slight affinity as well on genres, because it was funny. I came home one day from school, and he was playing Alpha Centauri by Tangerine Dream, and I went in and went, "Dad, what are you doing, Dad? What have you got Tangerine Dream on for?" And he goes, "Well, can't I like this stuff?" Oh, okay, yeah. And so, and this just popped into my head now. My dad died when I was 37, so 97, and I was working in Luton at the time, and I'd bought the JP8000, like I said, in 97, and one of the saddest things of that time was my dad passed away before I'd even managed to do anything with my musical stuff. I was collecting equipment. I was trying things out, and my dad passed away before I'd released my first album. And
wow.
my mum said as well. My mum said, "Oh, your dad would have liked this." But that's just one of those things, isn't it? But no, so they, as far as I'm aware, nobody on either my mum's or dad's side even ever played
Then
musical
I'm
instruments.
going to contribute music for you living this long.
Yeah.
It's healed you through.
Right. Yeah.
And you're not stealing my truth, Synkrotron. Get your crystal ball away from my mind.
What about your
Me
siblings?
two. Yeah, I was going to say me middle brother. So I was the eldest.
Uh-huh.
My middle brother, he likes music, but he hates technology. So I've never actually managed to get him to record anything. But if he's round the campfire, he'll get his. He can play a little bit of the didgeridoo, and he likes his. Yeah, he likes his mouth harps as well. He's got a couple of mouth harps, so he's a great person to have round the campfire with with your guitar and providing a little bit doing ding doing ding that sort of thing. So yeah, not maybe not as prolific and musical as perhaps as I am, but yeah. And then my youngest brother. A music fan, let's say, not so much a musician, just a music fan.
Have you ever tried to ask your brother who does play to join you in the studio?
No, but I've tried to convince him to sort of have a look at Jam Tabba, and like a lot of things, we just and he goes, "Oh, that's a great idea," but then other things get in the way, and we don't do it. And yeah.
That would be cool to have you and your brother on a Saturday morning.
Oh yeah, it would be, yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I'll have to be satisfied with Luke and Tom. Tom. I mean, when I did that Jam Tabba, I did a Jam Tabba live stream. Was it about a month or so ago? And Tom Tracker Jack came in, and Davey as well. Davey was in that as well. There's something about just getting together in Jam Tabba, and we're going off another bit of a tangent here, but yeah, doing stuff as a group of people is amazing.
Yeah.
When you're searching YouTube for music content,
Yeah.
what exactly are you searching for? Do you have like an idea, or you just go, let me see what I'm gonna find new and like today?
It's just not the same these days, for me anyway. I'll probably say that ever since I've started to share my own music on the internet, whether it be mp3.com and the forums that were set up around that time, you almost felt, well, it wasn't, no, I mean, it's not feel at all. It's, if you want people to listen to your music, you should listen to their music.
Right.
Yeah. So if there's 20 people listening to you and making comments on your music, then your next 2 hours is taken up listening to 20 other people's musical creations. So I think because I'm no what's the word? How's the best way to say this? I feel that's my duty as a almost non-musician or non-professional musician, that if I want to get heard, then I've got to put in the graft, and listen to other people as well, watch other people's streams, that sort of thing.
Yeah, we say
so.
That often.
Whereas sort of like as a fan only. So if let's say I was just a fan, then I guess these days it would be YouTube, and I could just do a search for music like Tangerine Dream or music like Jean-Michel Jarre or whatever. And there is so much stuff out there now. It's absolutely, you could go onto Bandcamp now. You could do a search for electronic music and you could listen to something new every day for probably 16 hours of the day, and you would never have to play anything twice.
Right.
Yeah,
You wouldn't even scratch the surface. But
No.
that's why I'm much more on the mindset, and this is just me speaking, but me watching you Saturdays or whenever you decide to go live, you're doing more on that Saturday than an album you put out. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh yeah, and it's crazy that
I get the full artist.
Right.
I get to be there live and actually speak to
the artist. Yeah, and get a
you know?
question in.
And then I often wonder, like, why do I want to create an album? I really don't want to create an album. I really don't. I don't know what my brother thinks. I don't know what my wife thinks. But for me personally, I could care less if I create an album. I really don't want to. The reason why I'm going to do it is because I've never done one. So I'll probably do one. But there's nothing there for me to create an album. I think now I'm in the mindset of, and I look at everyone who follows us and who follows you, we're all this family. I think of them as those music artists, those superstars, like, I love what they're doing. I can have an interaction with them, and I can have an interaction with their fans. And that's, to me, that's more tangible and more viable and carries more substance.
Well,
for
you
me.
never mentioned you didn't want to do an album. If I had known that, I would have been like, I don't want to do an album either, you son of a bitch.
And that's why I don't mention it. So why does my thoughts have to be your thoughts?
I didn't
and your-
say they had to.
Right, but that's-
it's just something that you just have a
That's
normal
something-
conversation.
and
like,
I just keep to myself. So certain things I'll keep to myself because I don't want to influence anyone's ideations.
yeah, but you got to
So-
find out through a podcast that shit, we don't have to make a goddamn album.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I first started Bandcamp in 2015. So well before I was live streaming. I guess it might be different now. Let's say I'd started live streaming before I did Bandcamp stuff. Then I think you're probably right in as much as, well, I'm getting 2 hours or 3 hours of stuff out here, or I'm doing a live recording and then republishing it on YouTube. Why bother doing an album? I don't know. It's like I've got a place on Bandcamp, and I just like putting stuff up there. I don't know. It's a bit, to me, it's a bit of a test as well, because and the very first time I put an album on Bandcamp, it was like, well, no one's going to buy this crap, but whatever. I'll stick it on and I'll just see how it goes. And people bought it. I'm thinking, all right, okay. You've got to set up a PayPal account as like a business, because that's the way Bandcamp want to pay you. They want to pay you as a business through
Right.
PayPal. And it was just a really strange point in time there that I'd finally released something, and people who I don't even know, who probably don't even have their own stuff, because I mean, a lot of the time it's artists supporting artists, but when complete strangers like Tracker Jack Tom, for instance, I mean, Tom's been buying my stuff probably before. He saw, I don't know, I'd have to get him to remind me, but completely sort of like random people buying me stuff that don't even know me. I'm thinking, this is just amazing.
Yeah.
And it got to a point where I could actually start going, all right, well, this album has actually paid for one particular module in my case. So all of a sudden, I mean, I'm not self-sufficient, not by any stretch of the imagination. I'm well behind, but it did help to, so it does, I'm hoping it does, because I want to try and put some more albums up there. But it helps to subsidise a little bit of the hobby. So that's why I would probably still carry on. And let's face it, I mean, it's cheap as I think I put each one up for £3, and if you buy the whole sort of like back catalogue, it's 65% off. And also, if you put I'm just plugging myself now. If you put Synkrotron at the checkout in the discount code, you get another 65% off. I think you can get my entire collection for about a tenner. It's ridiculous.
As everybody's rushing there now to go get that 65.
That's right.
Well,
Go cop that album.
And Steve just posted the link to
thanks,
Andy's
Steve,
Bandcamp in there.
It's
Andy's like, I'm just giving away everything.
well, I mean, what a lot of people do is they put it up and as name your price NYP, which is okay, but I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna put a price on mine regardless, and then because then it forces people, if someone wants to have something of mine in the collection. That now he tells me, says Tao. So,
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
what was I going to say now? I can't remember. But I mean, the whole, for me, the whole, perhaps it's a bit of a vain thing. But when you go to your when you go to your Bandcamp collection, you see your album there on your page, and you see all those little squares underneath it. They're all the people that are buying your album, so it shows other people that you're selling your stuff. It's weird. I mean, perhaps I'm just a bit of a weirdo, but I just like
that's to each his own. You know, like for me personally, for myself, I don't care. I really give one shit about an album. I know my brother and I want to go live, and I've never put out an album, so that's probably the only reason why I want to do it is just to say, hey, yeah, I put one out. But after that,
you're questioning poor Cresshead is like, are you sure they're not? I'm like, Cressy, they're going to do it. Don't worry.
Yeah, we're going to put out one just because we've never done it. But, you know, I'm not, I mean, if you're asking me, I really don't care about an album. I don't. I just want to create music.
It's a way of, it's just another way of saying, hey guys, we're here, we're doing stuff.
Yes.
Yep.
And, you know, I mean, perhaps it's funny, really. I mean, I do hear some people saying, yeah, well, I want to think about my legacy when I'm gone. And I'm thinking, like, well, you're putting your legacy in YouTube.
Right.
Or Bandcamp.
That's,
you know, you're not thinking that far into the future then. Because, you know, it's not a right. It's not a right of yours to be able to put stuff on the internet. It just... It's just there at the minute, but no, I mean that's another subject. But
I think my legacy for me is now, like in this moment right now. I don't need to be here on the ether forever. I'm imprinted on those minds here right now. That's my album. You know me as an artist. You know my brother as an artist. You know that female voice behind the camera. And you live that with us, and you'll never forget it.
We should put an NYP on our YouTube. Biscuit says he heard if you do that, people pay more.
There you go. There you go. The more you know.
Well, I mean, I do actually give away I give away free codes as well. So although I've got my albums up for you know for cheap as chips, I give away. Discount codes as well. I mean, it's ridiculous, really. What the way just to give people an idea about Bandcamp. So they give you 200 free codes when you first join up. Now you've got to use them in lumps of 100. Okay, so you've got to choose wisely up front. And I always say to people, whatever you do, don't use those codes on a single because it's like that's it. You know, you'll probably soon get rid of those. So use them on an album. And I think you know your fans get more for the free download code, and you get more as well effectively. But then what happens is I think every $500 of turnover, that's turnover, so that's not what they give you because that includes the money that they sort of keep them for themselves as well. So top turnover, every time you turn over 500 quid, they give you another 1,000 codes, right? So I've got 4,000 codes now. I cannot give the bloody things away. I post them on Discords, I post them on forums, and people go, "Oh yeah, okay, thanks for that." I mean, some people do take them, and I'm very grateful for that. But some people end up go and buy my whole stuff anyway.
Right.
So you know, but it's the just a nice little marketing card, if you like, and also it puts their face as well on the or little square on the when you give the codes away. It still looks like people. It kind of like it makes your stuff look like it's actually quite listenable.
That's cool.
You know what I mean?
You apparently can never stop your Saturday streams. Otherwise, Kent will be bankrupt if you do. Andy is responsible for me getting my work done at all on Saturday mornings. If he ever stopped doing it, I'd be bankrupt in a few weeks.
Oh, not bankrupt.
I can even restore Profit
Get out of
5 Revision 2 as long as Andy is playing.
But yeah, Andy said.
Thank you, Kent.
Andy doesn't believe in the healing properties of music. I think you're ready to retract that statement, sir.
Well,
So, Andy, you can't give us one story that someone can learn from. Like, you can't give us one story in your life that you went through a down, you went through a up, and then you learned from it, and it made you a better person.
Didn't Andy mention one time that he was arrested for something?
off a train. Something to do with a train.
No, I've never been arrested. Never been arrested.
Or almost arrested?
Must have been a different synchrotron.
Maybe not
Must have been a
arrested,
different gnome.
but there was a story with a train. Something happened with a train. They thought you
Yeah.
were something or
Oh,
someone else.
like a terrorist or something?
No, that's not me. You sure that's not Andy Synth had it or something?
No,
That's
no,
not
no,
me.
No.
No, that was.
We don't have terrorists over here.
Okay,
You said it in the chat.
Do you have a story about a train or something?
Yeah.
No. I don't remember any train stuff. I could say, look, children, don't smoke and don't drink.
They're going to do it regardless.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried any hard drugs, Andy?
Didn't you smoke and drink
No.
when you were younger?
No hard drugs.
No.
No.
What do you define as hard drugs?
Well, anything past cannabis, I suppose. I don't know. I mean, at college, I remember, we used to have these sensible conversations, so-called, and we'd go, "Oh yeah, we don't want to be doing heroin. Look at the outfall from that. Jesus
Yeah,
Christ! Do you want
Jesus.
to? Do you really want to see yourself there? Oh yeah, that's heroin off the list."
Crazy said coffee. Coffee is
Coffee?
his hard drug.
Yeah, coffee.
Yeah.
It is a drug.
For Canada, it is.
caffeine. Yeah.
Yeah, please
I
don't
mean,
talk about coffee with Kent in the chat.
You can't avoid it. I mean, it's there's always some place in your life where somebody will pass a joint to you, and you'll go, "Well, I don't even smoke." Oh, come on, yeah. And then you get the giggling fits for about an hour.
There you go.
So.
How about something lighter? And I know you
What's
don't
the
want to.
drunkest you ever been?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Well, I memean, there was that one time I think I was telling somebody one day on the chat about the time because I don't smoke, you see, so but I'd got hold of this stuff. I think they called it Red Leb. That was what it was called, whatever that Red Lebanese. I have not got a clue what that is, but I would eat it. So, but the problem with eating stuff like that is like, well, how much do you ingest? There was no like rules to say. There was no instructions to say, yeah, and only have this much on your toast.
Right.
Whereas if you were smoking it, at least then you would know roughly what you were taking in, I suppose, in a certain way. So I had this stuff, and I got to. It was a Saturday night, so I remember walking to town, and even by this time I'm thinking, oh God, those lights are glowing nice and orange, aren't they? Oh, yeah. You know, the neon street lights and stuff. And in the actual place, it was the Lion bar in the upstairs bar in the Lion in the middle of town, and there was a band on, and I remember at one point I'm sort of like lying incapable on the floor. I could hear people trying to tap off with my missus, not my wife at the time, then would have been my girlfriend, and I'm just like going, what? And I don't remember getting home. I don't remember getting home. I woke up at 3:00 in the afternoon, and in a pool of piss, and I thought, wow, how have I got in? How have I got into my house? Everything, my keys were everything was, I had money in my wallet, so I'd got home somehow. Either whether somebody took me home, I have got no idea. That was the last time I ever bothered. It's just like, well, I don't want to be that so out of control with myself. But having said that, you then, so you drink, and I was never an alcoholic, I don't think. I was more of a binge drinker. And yes, I have been, to like New Year's parties and come back totally out of it. And
I like how Andy said, I wasn't an alcoholic, I don't think.
I just binge drink.
no, well, because I think if you're an alcoholic
I think
or
you
addicted,
know it.
well, no, I think you do. So.
I mean, you may not admit it.
No,
but
no. Because I could always go wherever it took in between binges. I was never sort of. I used to work with a guy called Gordon, and he said, yeah, I'm an alcoholic. I'm dry at the moment. He said, but when I was going through my bad phases, I'd be at the off license at 6:00 in the morning, and I'd have had 4 cans before I started work. And that was like compulsory for him every single day.
Wow.
So, going off that story, I think I can safely say that I'm not an alcoholic. That's not to say that I'm not addicted.
Right,
I think you can still get addicted to things. So I was on some heavy painkillers for a time, and so at one point, I come out of an operation one day, and I was in that much pain that they put me on diamorphine, which is probably the top opiate you can get, sort of thing. But even then, coming out of hospital and then weaning myself off the slow release morphine and that sort of thing, and something called Oromorph, which is like this awful stuff that you can drink. And they give you this bottle of Oromorph, and it's like, have they vetted you for this? Because you could just go, well, sod it. I'll just have the lot, Yeah. But I managed to sort of like at least not go down that route. But it took me. Eventually, my doctor weaned me off, and I was on to just straight codeine. But it took me about 2 years to get off that, and nobody helped me. It was just like, I just one day went, that's it, I can't take any more.
Yeah.
I just cannot take any more. I've got to stop taking this. And what I found was that it wasn't doing anything anyway. The aches and the pains were still there. They were the same when I stopped taking them.
Oh wow.
Jeez.
So the pain specialist in the hospital, he did say, he said, you will get addicted to the opiates. He said, but don't worry about it. He said, you've got a constant. The thing with the painkillers is that they help you to heal. Without the painkillers, you will struggle. It will be a struggle for you to actually get through the healing process. So you're better off being zoned out on the painkillers, and then you can deal with the addiction, that particular type of addiction later on. But it's not like, don't worry about it, said. You're not going to suddenly start robbing the off license to go and pay for your habit.
Right.
It's not that sort of an addiction, but it's an addiction where your brain is saying, oh, it's 12 o'clock, I need to go and take my pill. And
That's insane.
That's wild.
Yeah.
It's okay if you're addicted to these opioids. It's
Yeah.
fine. Continue
Yeah.
to take that. That's just wild.
Have you ever experienced anything of the paranormal?
Nope. No, I haven't really. I've wanted to.
Oh, really? You're
There was, Christ, I used to get bloody. If I was in my own, when I was in my, if it wasn't in, actually, I wasn't in my first house. It was when I went. My mum and dad left me, and when I was about 19, I say when they say left me, they got a job elsewhere, and they said, right, well, you can either come with us, and Andrew. Or you can stop here and we'll help you to try and find somewhere to stay. And I managed to get some digs with this 73-year-old lady who took in lodges. And every so often she would disappear on bridge nights. And so I would have and she'd be away for the weekend. So I'd have the house to myself over the weekend. And there was one night, I mean, I had to sleep with the bloody lights on because I thought, I've just seen something.
Oh wow!
But it's like that. I've always poo-pooed that sort of stuff. It's like another one of these things where, and because it's not happened since, but you cannot. Yeah, so the human, I think it's one of these. I think it's a human thing, isn't it? Was it fright or flight? I can't remember what it is now. Anyway, fight or I can't remember. That's it, yeah. But when you get that, the hair standing up on the back of your neck, because let's say you've got to go down to the bottom of your garden because you've got to do something down there, like put something in a bin or whatever it is, and you're going, I don't want to go down there. There's something really back in your sort of
sense. Yeah.
primordial part of your brain that is saying you should not be going down there. And it's like, do you remember you'd be watching The Exorcist and that woman goes up into the loft and you're going, what? Don't go in the loft.
Yeah.
Right,
But she goes up in the loft anyway. And it's kind of like that situation. There's something in your brain that goes, you shouldn't be. It's dark. You shouldn't be going down there. So
it's called instinct, or some would say your sixth sense.
Yeah, or gut feeling. So what do you think you saw that you were like, okay?
It was an apparition. Let's just call it an apparition. You go, what was that? Freaking hell! Lights on.
Yeah. Was it enough for you to go, I can't stay in this home no more? I got to tell people.
No. And I got
Okay.
to sleep. I got to sleep. Just slept with the lights on.
Do you know people who have sworn they seen something that challenged their reality?
Not really. No, I mean, my mum and dad were in the childcare profession for a time, and some of the so-called, some of the children's homes that they worked in professed to have ghosts. So, certain staff members would say, oh yeah, I saw that ghost on the landing the other night, So that's about the closest I've ever gone to that sort of thing. So I've never, and apart from that one, which I always remember, funnily enough. I mean, it's obviously got into my psyche enough that I can still remember it. 40 odd years on. I don't like watching scary films. I don't like, I don't take very well to horror films and stuff. So, Alien, obviously is a different thing. I mean, that's I count that as science fiction, but
But
yeah,
you know
so
that question is coming, right?
yeah. Well, so but I know. I mean, I without going too much into that sort of, like I said before at the start, skeptic. I need to see something. If I was pushed on that sort of thing, I would have to say, let's say, faith and whatever. I'd probably have to say that. Well, I'm a bit of a Carl Saganist, because
okay.
I bought Cosmos, the book, in the bookshop. I didn't even know they had a series on the telly, and I read that book from cover to cover, and it was quite an interesting book, and it kind of resonated with some of the thoughts that I was having at the time. So this would probably be in my I don't know, mid to late 20s, I think, when that book came out. I can't remember, to be honest, but yeah. But otherwise I don't know. So Paranormal, which was what the original, I don't think so, no. Oh yeah, we did the Ouija board. So in the sort of like, I think
Wait,
it was.
How old were you when you did?
12.
Okay.
But I mean, your parents are there, and
Yeah.
it was back in the people. I mean, Ken will remember this. Kent, it's not Kent. Kent. Kent will remember this bit. So back in I think it was 1972. It might have been the Winter of Discontent. I can't remember fully, but there were power cuts, and so every now and then you'd get an announcement to say there'd be a power cut for that night, and you'd have to get the candles out. And so, well, once you get the candle out, you get the Ouija board out. And we did this, it was like 4 or 5 us with the hands on, and it spells out PUTONLIGTS, and the frigging lights came on, and we're going, what the?
Poltergeist.
Because that's what it spelled. Put
Right.
on lights, and it was like,
put on
what?
lights.
Oh,
But it's who was doing that? Oh, come on, somebody was that you? No, was it you?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, Andy, but you saw a ghost with your own eyes.
the Ouija board's playing games with
An
you.
apparition. It was
An
something. It
okay,
was
an
the
apparition.
corner of your eye. It was like the corner of the eye.
Okay, but I'm confident at this point you're not going to say, "Oh, I don't trust my lying eyes," because that's a part of you. So you've seen something that could be, whether you don't want to believe it or not. It was factual that you saw something, which a corner of your eye means yes, I seen it, and I don't want to look at it again. And then you got your Ouija board. So what if everyone is telling the truth and no one had anything to do with it? I mean, you have to look at
Remember,
that.
You do have to
Remember
Yeah.
skeptic, but
Yeah.
you have to look at the glass half full, half empty.
Because the skeptic will have the evidence right in front of him and still won't believe it.
I mean, it depends on what
no,
skeptic you're talking to.
It's
No,
a lot of them. They can
Not
still.
necessarily. But do you know something? Can I just say that, right? That
Okay.
besides all that, okay. I mean, I can get into discussions about faith and about science and space and the universe and all that sort of crap. But really, for me, it's a distraction that I no longer really want to get into, because I'd rather be making music.
Right,
There
right.
you go.
Do you know what I
Gnome-
mean?
the gnome has spoken. Yeah.
Wisely too.
Yeah.
So I can be drawn, but I'd rather talk about my music,
Yeah.
or your music, or everybody's music. I don't want to talk about is the universe going to collapse back in on itself, and there'll be a big suck or whatever. I don't freaking well care, because
Yeah.
I'm going to be well dead by that time. So.
So you hope.
So you hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you know what? I mean, I was on the BBC website this morning, and some space debris fell in the middle of Kenya, apparently, back end of last year. So there's that. So you've got space debris shit. There's about 6 tons of space debris going around the planet Earth at the moment, apparently. But not only that, I mean, and I hope my lad isn't watching this. I don't think any of my family's watching this, but because I think at one point one of them was like a little bit concerned, let's say, about asteroids. You know, our place in the universe could be over in a moment. We just don't know, could we? We don't know. That there might be a massive solar flare, or.
But what's wrong with just wondering and having a thought process? No one's saying like, that's part of being human.
I think the natural curiosity.
We just want to think,
right,
and know and wonder. What's wrong with wondering and never get an answer? No one's asking for an answer. I never want to know an answer about the things I fantasize, or. What's the point of having fantasies? And what's the point of having a deep thought about something and having a wonder about something without being scrutinized? It's okay to wonder about things, you know?
I'll concede to that point, yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
Just don't dwell on it.
I would never. But I would never force on anybody my thoughts. Let's put it that way.
Right.
I
I think more so people are just curious of what Andy thinks or how Andy thinks, because it's a natural curiosity to wonder what your friend thinks about this. Well, I wonder what my friend Andy thinks about aliens.
Right. I can't ask Dave Matthews Band because they're not doing this on YouTube. But I can ask Synkrotron, who I'm a huge fan of his music, hey, what do you think about this? And have you ever thought about this? You know, these are fascinating times we live in. These are fascinating subjects. Yeah. And I'm not saying by any means like this is what controls my life and I can't go 24 hours without thinking about this stuff. But I don't know you. I don't know your process. What do you think about?
I'm with Andy, though. I'm a huge skeptic, too.
Yeah, you are. You're very huge. Mm-hmm. But you've seen some things, too, at the same time.
Well, and like Andy said, if I don't see it with my own eyes, I'm not going to believe it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
But it's great to talk to you in this forum, Andy. I just want to have more conversations like this. You know, there's something to be learned. Everyone watches you on Saturday, and people want to know who you are.
And so... the Carl Sagan thing, okay. There's a section in there about flat Earth, and not that the Earth is flat. It's not the flat Earth thing like the Flat Earth Society, but it's an example used to describe multiple dimensions. So we live in a 3-dimensional world. Mm-hmm. So we've 4 dimensions if you include time. Mm-hmm. So we've got up, down, left, right, forwards, backwards, X, Y, Z, whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. Now, so he explained that, and it's not his explanation. It's a common thing, but he just described it in his book. So let's say you've got these people in 2D world, so they don't know what up is, right? They haven't got the maths to prove it exists or anything. It's just like people spouting off about crap, and they live in this. So you know, like all they can see is edges. So they've got squares and circles and stuff, but they can only see edges. They've got no up, right? But there's a sphere out of the zone. Right, a sphere. They can't see it because they don't know it's up, but they don't know up. They can't describe up. They haven't got the maths to describe up. Right, that sphere then passes down into their world, and it can pass through their world. And all of a sudden, the 2D people go, "Freaking hell! Did you see that? What?
Yeah.
It was a
right. It just popped in.
It just and it's gone. Did you what?" I can't explain it. It was like one of us. It was a circle that came down and it disappeared. Well, you're just talking shit, mate. You know. And then someone theoretically theoretizes about, well, what if there was a third dimension? What if there's something out there that has 3 dimensions? You know, we are X and Y. What if there's a Z? And they go, no. So the general public will just go, don't talk to me about third dimensions bullshit. I'm getting back on with me. It's tea time in half an hour.
Right.
So, it was to explain. So, like, if there was a deity or whatever, or another being, then it probably wouldn't exist in our 3D space. And he also, I think it was in that book. He also explained that, like, certain faiths, and I could be wrong here. I think it's one of the Indian faiths. It might be Hindu. That there were 10 dimensions. Okay, 10 dimensions. So it's like, what? But I mean, this is going back thousands and thousands of years.
Yeah.
But some faith somewhere had this notion that there was 10 dimensions. I can't remember the exact details, and it has been some time since I read it. But yeah. Sorry, I've gone off on the.
No. And that's exactly what we wanted you to do.
Yep.
Yeah, people are getting a good dose of what you know, what Andy's beliefs are.
And so that.
But no. Just I mean, let's get this 100%. It's a belief. It's weird, isn't it? Like I don't want to have a belief anymore. I've got to a point in my life when it's no longer important for me to have a belief. Me personally, I'm not bothered. I mean, I went in to do my will a couple. Was it last year before? Might have been before COVID actually. And we went to do our wills, and I said to the. I think we got on to like burial or whatever, cremation type stuff. You know, what would you like to do? I said, well, do you know what? I would rather be. Can I go out into a cardboard boat when I go out to sea, and I just want to go into the ocean? I don't want to be wasting money burning me or burying me or anything. Because I haven't got a soul. I don't care about a soul. I consider myself that when my brain goes off, that is me dead. So the body is just, waste. Get rid of it in the best, in the most hygienic and greenest possible way that you can. And she said, "Well, actually, we don't think we can do that because, if you imagine everybody on the planet said." I want to go and just dump yourself in the sea. There'd be pollution problems with the sea, but I'm just thinking like off the top of my head. Well, what can I do with this carrier of what I was before my brain winked out?
Right.
And I was thinking of getting a tattoo actually, done on my arm. Please dispose of responsibly.
That's so classic.
Yeah.
I don't like tattoos, so not on myself.
So is it safe to say you don't believe in a higher source? You just believe in yourself and now?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, if I was pushed on it, that's probably the long and short of it.
But that's a belief, Andy. And would you believe tomorrow is coming? I'm just going to ask you plain. Don't be vague. Do you believe tomorrow is coming?
Oh yeah, unfortunately, yeah, it's 6:30. Got to get up for work.
Okay. So Andy, I wouldn't say you're over believing in things. I just think you really want to do away with some of these unnecessary things of what belief is and should be.
Right.
Like you just want to have a balance
life
in belief.
Right.
You don't want the added bullshit. You don't want the things that don't have any tangible evidence with it. It's just a belief in moderation of, hey, I'm Andy. I believe in myself. I believe in what I can create, destroy, and afflict. And I believe that tomorrow will be here for me. Now, whether it's here or not, Andy believes in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just think too, it's just one of those things where it's just your soup of the day. Like for people that believe the earth is flat and it's not round, it's just the power of belief. And I don't find anything wrong with that.
Right.
What do I give a shit if he thinks the earth is flat? You know what I mean?
Right. It doesn't affect my life. It doesn't.
It doesn't change anything about
Yeah.
my perception on life.
We got 5 minutes until get
Jarvis.
Jarvis. Yeah.
Okay, one last question.
Yeah, I've been up for 2 hours. Friggin' hell, what have you done?
See?
Yeah.
Over 2 hours?
Oh, but you were so boring.
You're
Mister,
so boring,
I'm boring.
sir.
It's going to be done in 30
Okay,
minutes.
one last
Told you.
question. One last question, Andy. And it requires you to think about it. Don't just blurt out an answer. You got 5 minutes.
When's the next album out?
Do you do you believe that there's something more to you than you can realize?
What? Can you ask that again, please?
Okay, because I've had this question asked. I've had
I
this
design,
question
I
directly
design
to
chemical plants.
me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you believe there's more to you than you can realize?
Nah.
mean-
I don't know. It's like, what? It's like getting 2 apples out of 1 apple sort of thing. I don't know. I don't understand the question then, I guess.
Okay.
I guess when you close your eyes, you're
Yeah.
laying down in bed, your eyes are closed, you're getting ready to go
Yeah.
to sleep, and you can
Yeah.
hear your thoughts in your mind or your brain. And you have this notion that you're aware of yourself inside of a body, or you are the body. Do you believe that I guess he's getting at, do you believe that when the body eventually turns off, you cease to have that conscious thought of you?
Yeah, but I mean, he did answer. He said no.
Okay.
You know, so I really don't like to push things past.
But that's the question, though.
But that is the question.
But I mean, I know Lamar. You had your out of body experience. I know that from listening to previous podcasts. It's not something I've ever had. If that's what you mean, and I don't know. It's but no, I haven't. And would I believe that it could happen? I don't know. It's like, you know, and yeah.
I'm with you, Andy. I'm with you. I didn't believe I didn't believe that shit was possible until I had it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I was there. But,
I think
like you said, when you get the facts for your personal life,
So
that's when you
you
understand things.
Yeah, and you understand that more than anybody
And
because you've gone from a skeptic to an experiencer.
Yes.
right.
So-
And there's nothing I can do to ever sway anybody's mind. That's why I always tell people this is just my story, my story alone.
But it's always it's always a great thing to think about, you know, because it really it really puts your mental aspect into a certain place, and it forces you to look deep within and ask those perplexing questions for yourself,
Right.
not for anyone else. I don't care what this is directed for, Andy. You know, so I like to go off the person's initial response because that's where they are in their life,
Right.
You know,
And even if I came back and and my situation was real 100%, and we all go through it and we all continue on after this physical life, even if I told you that and you chose to believe it, Andy, what would it actually change about your life?
It's just difficult to fathom, isn't it? You've got to. I mean, and you know what? I mean, this time next week I could be going to church. You just don't know, do you? You don't know what's going to come around the corner
Right.
to change your life in that way. So, you know, I'm going to carry on taking my life one day at a time, and I hope that you know. One of the reasons why I didn't want to go into this sort of thing is I don't want to be judged on it, and I don't want to be sort of like, you know, losing good friends because my belief doesn't align with theirs.
who
I
would
mean,
do
it's-
that? And if they did
I
that,
don't know.
they're not your friend, Andy. They're
Well,
not your friend.
that is
they're there
very
for
true.
something else.
Yeah,
they're
that is
there.
very true.
They're there for what they think you should. Sim Samurai just had early morning live about this and what people think is best for you. And nothing rubs me wrong where a man has to shut his ideas and his words off because he doesn't know how it's going to be looked at, and he doesn't know what his so-called friends are going to say. Well, when you say something, Andy, fucking say it loud so you can get rid of that goddamn disease because they're not your friends. They're not your fucking family.
See
and
what
they
you
don't,
started,
and they
Andy.
don't give one shit about you.
Now
but
he's going
if
off.
there's something on your mind, if there's something on your mind,
The monkey is
Collar.
out.
and you're thinking about
Shot
it,
collar.
and you want to fucking
Yes, shot
share
collar.
it,
Yes.
you share it with me, Andy, because I'm gonna listen. I'm not gonna fucking judge you with my beady fucking
Okay,
eyes.
bye.
You see what you did to this man, Andy?
Okay,
You
bye.
put him on a tear, but he's got a point. I could
Yeah.
give a fuck all what people think, and if they are
He
not
started one.
concerned about my beliefs,
He
and
went
that
crazy.
was their main point about me, go fuck off.
Right. It just drives me bonkers when people want to inject what they like. I'm not hearing you. I just now want to project my thoughts on you now, and now I'm going to judge you. If a person's doing that immediately, shut them off and get them out of your fucking life because they're not there for you. They're not there to listen to you, and they're not there for a friendship in which you think they are there for. You know what I mean? And that,
Yeah.
I've canceled a lot of people out of my phone Rolodex. Like you wouldn't believe. I probably only have 10 people in which I call constantly from 100 people I had in my phone because of that very reason. You're not here for me. You don't check up on me. You don't invest your time in me. You don't care to know how I'm doing really. You're just picking and choosing on the things you like about me. And you want me to stay in this box. And if I don't, then I don't exist in your world or I'm a batshit crazy, you know?
Yeah.
And so I cut them out of my life like a fucking bad cancer. And I'll never revisit it again until they prove otherwise.
Thank you.
Welcome to Monkey Island, Andy, and you're always welcome here.
Ooh, motherfucking Here at Monkey Island, you be your goddamn self because if you don't want to be yourself, then who's going to be you?
Right, because you only got one crack at this. Andy's 64. I want to know the real Andy, not the fake, fictitious one people want to make him.
Yeah.
You know, you tell me everything because that's going to give me more energy to be myself and continue to do what I want to do.
And we love Andy
And
more.
we love Andy more. Thank you, everyone, for watching. We have Get Jervis next. Please
Yeah.
go
And
to
we're
Andy's
going to have
channel.
Andy on again.
Yes.
You're coming on again.
This
2
was
hours
too short.
clearly was not
It's not
enough.
enough.
Andy.
we can keep going for hours, I know. And you were getting very loose, Andy.
Yeah,
you
it
were
was a
starting to go
great
down these different
conversation.
paths.
Had all these pent up reservations that, oh no, the Monkey Island is going to dig into my very essence
Okay,
of my.
so one last question. I know Get Jarvis is on, but I have one last question for Andy, and it'll be
He'll be late anyway.
Yeah, right.
He'll be having technical problems.
There you go.
Right, right. Wait. But before you ask the question, those of you who want to go to Jervis, go. You can always come
Yeah.
back
Yeah, you can
and
always
watch
come
this
back and
later.
finish,
Yeah.
yes.
Do not stick around.
Yeah.
I mean, but if you got to go to Jervis, go. We
Go.
understand.
Yeah, a lot of people you can't dual stream on a phone.
I'll be
You
there
do-
in a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, last question: are you happy you came on, or do you still have the reservations of man? I wish I never came on.
I'll have to watch back.
It was all a blur, huh, Andy?
I can't remember what I said.
Oh,
But is it?
Well,
is
you
it as
watch
bad as you
back-
thought it was? Is it as bad as you thought it was?
No, and I'm surprised I got this far, to be honest.
Yeah.
2 hours, that's mad.
Yeah, because you were so convinced.
Yeah.
It
But do you know,
would only
well,
be 30 minutes.
I've probably conned you, really, haven't I? Because I actually can talk to England, talk for England about myself.
there you
So
go.
Yeah.
maybe I was kidding you.
Yeah.
maybe.
Perfect.
Because I don't know, when you watch this back, Andy, you're going to realize that you started to open up and then you started to close down your pathways. We didn't close those down because you kept telling yourself, oh, no, I'm going off track. But to me, it sounds like a man has a lot to say,
Yeah.
and he is
And we're here
is
for it.
barring himself in, and he's coming up with these random fictitious things on, I'm going off track. No, I can sit here for hours and listen to you, and
Yep.
no, you're not boring. You're fucking Synkrotron.
Yeah.
God damn it, act like it.
Yes. And with that, you're coming back. Thank you so much,
Thank
Andy,
you so
for
much.
coming
Thank you, everybody,
on.
for
We
watching.
appreciate it.
Yeah,
Yes,
you're the
I
thank
best,
really
you.
Andy.
Yes, thank
appreciate
you
it.
everyone for showing up. Get Jervis is on right now.
Yep, Steve posted the link in
This
the
link
chat.
is up.
We'll see you. We'll see you tomorrow tomorrow's what, Monday?
Tomorrow's Monday, yeah.
5 o'clock?
Yeah, 5 or
Or
6.
sometime after hardware.
Yeah,
Sometime
if it
after
goes too
hardware.
long, we'll hop
Yeah.
in.
Okay.
All right, guys. Take
Thank
care.
you,
All right,
Andy.
everybody.
We love
Thank
you all.
you, thank
Thank
you,
you.
thank you very
Appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye.
much. Bye.